we're going to talk about Brad Davis real quick, and then we'll bring Sean on. So in case you didn't know, he did retire today, officially. Oh, you have that.
Let me take this over.
Oh, okay, so this
my all-time favorite player.
This is his all-time favorite, so we'll let him roll with
Brad
this.
Davis, retiring today. I'm happy. I am happy. He only played one season with FC Dallas. Your shirt is just throwing me off, man. I'm sorry. He only played one season with SKC, tallying 3 goals and 2 assists with them, leading Houston Dynamo for assists.
Yeah.
He finished his career with 123 goals.
There you go.
123 goals.
We have Sean. We have Sean for the rescue. Assist.
123 assists.
Just as important, though.
But I mean, all in all, guys. I mean, Brad Davis retiring today. That was big. He didn't get any minutes. He wasn't even on the roster for SKC today.
No.
Which has been the norm. But he just wanted to go to Kansas just to retire in Missouri in front of his family. Which is out of respect. Like I said, it's bittersweet. It's nice to witness someone of that caliber play. I've seen him take our team to a couple of MLS finals. Granted, he wasn't able to play the 2011 one, but seeing him play live for the 2012, that's when I started watching them. Playing in the 2012 MLS Cup final, that was breathtaking right there.
Yeah.
So the fact that of him retiring finally after 15 great long years, it's an end of an era for me.
It is.
So, but all around, I mean, it was
probably besides maybe Brian Ching.
No, I mean, yeah,
top
besides Brian
3
Ching,
best Dynamo.
No, it was, originally the heart of the Dynamo was Brad Davis and Brian Ching.
Yep.
Besides Wade Barrett and them, but scoring the first ever goal in BBVA Compass Stadium. That was phenomenal, and then captaining our team for a few seasons. That was another great achievement for him.
Yeah.
And man, it's nice to see him go off the way that he wants to go off and retire in front of his family. I have nothing but respect for him. And the one thing that I can remember is this guy sitting next to me decided to call him Brad David.
I was a little intoxicated that match. I can't lie, and the David just slipped out, which. I forgot what player it was. You made some ridiculous name, and we trolled you for that too. I'd have to ask Megan or Amber. I'll ask Amber. Amber always remembers.
You Philly boys, though, man. You can't
better watch yourself.
You can't even get player names right and stuff. I don't know where you're coming from here.
You better watch yourself. That
was a great season. A great career for Brad. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, it's just props to him. He had an amazing career. It sucks to see him go, but he was at the end. It was time.
I don't think it was time to go,
serious?
man. No.
What did he do this year?
I think that's this year.
Exactly.
No, that's this year. Playing for Sporting Kansas, going with the mentality of retiring. They're not even they didn't even start him majority of the games. I still think he had a little bit left in him for us. It was hard. It sucked to see him go.
It does suck, but sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you got to move on. Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm a Brad Davis fanboy.
Yes.
Get over it.
Yeah, moving on. So we're going to bring Sean on. We're going to go prematurely into this. We were going to do scores and standings, but we're going to save that for later. We'll bring Sean on and talk to that.
Not enough space for a large fellow like myself.
You're not that
Come on,
large.
man.
All right.
That's funny.
Alrighty. So this is Sean. Sean, explain yourself a little bit. What are you? Who are you? What do you do?
What am I? I'm a person that used to write about the Dynamo, hadn't written about the Dynamo in forever. Anybody that followed Generation Orange with Leo, Rip Leo, was part of that podcast, part of that blog for a while. Was one of the original members and writers for Orange in the Oven, a big part of the initial Orange in the Oven kind of push. Really feel like I helped establish it to some degree. At one point was managing editor, co-managing editor for Dynamo Theory on SB Nation. So I've covered the Dynamo for 5, 6, 7 years, I've lost track. Just like it seems like the Dynamo have lost track of how to win.
Yes.
And I say that with all the love in the world for the Dynamo, but it has been a horrendous last 3-4 seasons in particular.
This one especially just disastrous.
Yeah, it's been painful to watch this team because they show flashes of, oh well, we might be okay, and then they just find a way to ruin it. That's a term. That's a coin term this year. Easy. The off season. Well, first, what was your outtake today?
On the game?
Yeah.
It looked like one team that was just going through the motions, i.e. the Dynamo, and another team that actually, to some degree, wanted to win in Colorado, but I feel like as soon as the Dynamo scored their goal, which, to be fairly honest, was more luck than skill, although Wenger is highly skilled, I feel like from that deflated Colorado for a pretty significant period of time. They did not look like the same team to end out that half that they did to start that half, and then it put them on the attacking side of things, trying to push for the goal. And really, at that point, they were pushing for 2. As soon as they got their first goal to level it, you could see they tried to push higher and higher, but it just wasn't working for them. And to be fair, Colorado's not that type of team where they're trying to push. No. Colorado's the team that wants to either get the goal early and hold you, or just plain hold you. Mm-hmm. And you could see it in how they're built and how they play. With that said, just to throw it out there, my not really dark horse this year for the MLS Cup, but my winner of MLS Cup is going to actually be Colorado. I think they have the right pieces in the right positions, and they have the right build for an MLS Cup run. And anytime you have Tim Howard in goal, you always have a chance to beat everyone.
So let me ask you this though, because I mean, yes, we all hate Dallas, but take the hatred out and just from an actual statistics and play view, do you honestly feel they have the pieces to beat Dallas?
Yes.
Especially like in Dallas.
Yes. Dynamo beat Dallas this year.
That is true.
Yeah.
So the pieces are there, and they don't have Mauro Diaz.
That is
a huge loss for that team. Now, that team has pieces that can fill in, but to what extent? This is now playoffs. This is live and die, 1 game, 2 games, for the later stages, but 1 game, and it just changes things. It changes the mentality of the opponent. It changes the mentality of if you score a goal, they're pouring everything at you. And I think we've seen, too, that teams can find ways to beat Dallas.
They can crack under pressure.
Yes.
Absolutely. And they have, depending on who they start in goal, they have a very young goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. By the way, I'm sorry. Take that.
If you guys are wondering why I'm smirking,
yeah, there
I'm
you
getting
go.
trolled on the comments.
Thank you. It's justice has been served.
I hate you guys.
It tastes like burning.
This may be the most embarrassing thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Oh, wait till
I've done a lot of embarrassing things.
Wait till you lose your next bet here.
You're losing the next one.
You know what, guys? Actually, here's a quick thing here, just to get you guys a little bit more involved with us. How about you guys come up with our next bet?
Yes, we need something for the end of the season.
And stipulation of the bet.
Yes.
Nothing too outrageous, but something as far as wearing an opposing team's jersey to a game. I.e. Justin would do it, but
so the way it's going to balance out is we're going to pick a couple matches each week. We're going to take our picks on them. From there, we'll keep them running tab on who has the better record. Whoever has the worst record at the end of the season has to do whatever the other one decides, or whatever our listeners decide, which I think should be fun. Can't be anything X-rated or something that's going to get us arrested. So yeah, let's go ahead and just dive right into the offseason.
Like the Dynamo should.
Yes, which, thank God, it's finally that time.
Back to the drawing boards, guys.
It is.
It really is. So the Owen Coyle error ended.
I like how you called that the error.
The error. It was the very brief, small error, which that's all it needed to be. Very brief.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you... Backtracking here, I don't understand why you would even sign a coach like that. His win
Because-
his win-loss ratio is awful.
It's true, but I
So
think
you've
they
already scrapped like a majority of the season,
yeah.
you know, plus the season before that.
So let me chime in.
All right.
I suspect, and I've got some information to back this up, but I suspect that Coyle was signed for this season and / that latter part of that other offseason. I don't suspect that he was signed for long term. He was basically given a year. And then he decided to bolt early because the team was super struggling, and when he bolted, the team basically had to make a choice. Let's face it, their best option, unfortunately, is in RGV right now, coaching RGV. Wilmer Cabrera is a fantastic coach, and he has proven that not only with the youth, but also with the players available, that he is able to draw the most out of that talent.
Yes.
What he was able to accomplish in RGV, yes, they did go out of the playoffs in the first round, but they made the playoffs. They came second in the West, and they played phenomenal soccer an entire season. And for an inaugural team, an expansion team, well, they don't really call it expansion in USL Pro, but for an inaugural season, that is a hell of a way to start. And so
I honestly think they could have even gone even further than what they did, you know.
I do. I
Yeah,
feel like they got, you know,
that Oklahoma game, that was a hard. I'm not even okay. I've started following RGV just because our affiliation, but man, that was a heartbreaker watching that.
to lose in what, the 91st, 93rd minute, something like that.
Yeah.
But see, here's where I'll be the optimist. It was the first year for a club, and the
Absolutely.
fact that they made it that far,
Absolutely.
nothing but props. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the team. They were a young team, first year in
Young,
existence,
talented
and they destroyed
team.
it.
And
Yes.
that was the first time a lot of these players had played together, and they showed chemistry almost right out of the gate for the season. And so that bodes well. But getting back to the point that Wilmer Cabrera is, in my opinion, the best coaching option we have right now, he was also our best coaching option when Coyle left. However, you can't take Wilmer Cabrera from RGV without losing Paul Rogers, whoever our assistant coach is, and Wade Barrett, because they all were expecting Wade Barrett to get it. Those are our 3 Dynamo coaches. And probably losing at least 1 RGV coach in the process because they don't want to see Wilmer go.
Yeah.
So you'd have to bring in a whole new staff. You'd have to bring in Wilmer. You'd have to reconfigure RGV. And at that point, RGV was excelling and playing pretty well. So it would have been difficult for them to bring Wilmer at that point. So with all that said, right, the thought process is you're going to bring in, you have Owen Coyle for a year and a half, 2 years as the case may be. He's just a stopgap. Their intent, as far as I could tell, as far as I've been able to figure out, is they actually wanted Wilmer for the head coaching position long term. Look at the formation they play. Look at the play style they play.
Yeah.
Is that not Wilmer Cabrera in a nutshell?
Exactly. I mean,
So do you think, in simple terms, Wade Barrett ends up just being a stopgap?
Yeah. It
To-
sucks for Wade Barrett. I think he might get an opportunity
And-
somewhere else. At the very least, he'll get one as an
and
assistant
that's
coach.
why he has that interim.
Correct.
You know,
And I think
head
we
coach.
That
know.
explains why he
Yeah.
never got that tag.
And I
Exactly.
think regardless of what the Dynamo front office want to say about, hey, he's still in the mix, yada, 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 the fact that they've come out already and said that we intend to interview and have a lot of candidates tells me they don't want Barrett long term. They're not comfortable with him long term. And like we were talking downstairs during the match, I'm not comfortable with Barrett long term. He's not a coach that does. There's 2 things that Wade does not do that I don't like, which is he's not aggressive, and he's not one who seems to stand up for himself when it comes to the front office. He takes what the front office says to him, and he does it.
And he's kind of had his
And-
hands shackled.
And you could
As far
tell
as
by
that,
his
yeah.
choices in lineups and his choices in substitutions, they, consistently said, "Oh, that's the best players available." But let's face it, we're fans. We know those were not the best players available at the time. So, because he's been handcuffed and all of that, it's just like it was always a stopgap. They didn't want to give him free reign to really do what he wanted with the team. Look at the last 3 or 4 matches, right? How many major substitutions did he make in those last 3 to 4 matches to change this formation, to change the attacking style? And, he didn't do that throughout the, early parts of his tenure. And to me, that just says that he's a coach that doesn't have the capability or doesn't have the desire to stick up for himself to the front office. and those making technical direction decisions, i.e. Matt Jordan, whereas we need a coach who can do that and who has enough sway with both the ownership and Chris Canetti to make that stand and make that push to say, hey, these players are not as good as you think you are based on what I'm seeing in practice, based on what I'm seeing in games. These players might be a better option. I've had a chance to play, to see the youth or whatever it may be, to really guide the direction of the team. And it begs the question too, right? Do you bring in a coach that fits our style? Because Jordan clearly has a style and a formation he prefers. Or do you bring in a coach and then shift that style that Jordan maybe is not as comfortable trying to find players for, and then hoping that the players he does bring in fit that new style and that new formation?
So you're going to have a coach that comes in, such as Wilmer Cabrera, and he's going to do what he's going to do.
Precisely.
He's going to play the players that he wants to play. My take on it is that it's the heart, for Wade Barrett to stay here, and I was saying this earlier in the season. I felt that he deserves at least one full season, one full off season, one full season as head coach, just because I felt the different energy on that pitch. It's kind of, as much as I hate to say it, it turned our losses into draws, stopped the bleeding that we had, and the first game I noticed it was going into Dallas. We should have won a game such as that, but we can't finish them. We couldn't finish those.
Correct.
And
it part of it too is attitude, right?
Yeah.
It's attitude from the coach, and look at Wade on the sidelines. He's not an animated coach. His personality on the sidelines is not a coach that is yelling and screaming at his players. It's not a coach. It's a coach that's coaching, but is not directing. It's a coach that is not teaching, or is teaching, but is not really honestly leading as a coach. We need a coach, because of some other things we'll discuss here in a minute, but we need a coach that leads from the sideline. And I just feel like Wade Barrett is not that coach. And I love Barrett to death. I think he's a great person. In fact, I know he's a great person. And he's a Dynamo legend without a doubt. There's no question to that. But is he the right coach? If we say, okay, we'll stick with Barrett for another year, that's going to potentially set us back not just a year, but potentially further, because you're talking youth development players that are coming in that are getting stifled when they come into the when they come into the Dynamo. How many times did Barrett have an opportunity to start an RGV player that was brought up to the MLS level to the Dynamo, and instead of starting them, or instead of even subbing them on, he let them either ride the bench or didn't even call them into the 23. So I'm just, it just, all of these things together form my basis for why I say that as much as I love Barrett and as much as I would love to see him stick around from a personal standpoint, from a fan and from a educated fan standpoint, he's got to go.
So I don't really know too much about how the coaching staff works, but so if, say, they do sign Wilmer Cabrera as our head coach next year, does Wade Barrett go back to an assistant coach role?
Totally up to him.
Yeah.
I would imagine that any MLS team that has a current coach is more than content to offer an assistant coach role if they're going to let that coach walk. But is Wade Barrett given an opportunity somewhere else? Perhaps he can get an assistant coach opportunity under Dominic Kinnear if Steve Ralston finally gets a head coaching position at another team.
Chicago.
Very, very possible. There's actually a couple locations he could end up going to. But all of that is to say that there is a huge possibility. You want more Dominic Kinnear? I'm so done with that era.
That's over. That's been over with.
But so that's the other thing too about Wade Barrett, right? He is a Dominic Kinnear guy. He's a Dominic Kinnear coach. You can see that Dom influence on him. His whole basis for when he wanted to start players based on lineup, or his lineups, it's all based on practice. It's based on how a player shows in practice. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of that. But at the same time, you have some players that just are not practice players. They are players that don't show up in practice, but when you throw them on the field in a live game, they become something totally different. It's like they just superhero up or something. I don't know, but it shows in his decision making, and I think at the end of the day, we need a coach who's willing to not only stand up for himself, but willing to make those decisions to shake things up when they need to be shaken up. And Barrett just did not do that this season, and I don't think you guys can argue that point at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, absolutely not. I completely agree on that. He started, like I said, he changed the energy of that team, but he didn't get the results.
No,
that was needed.
It looked fresh because we wanted something different.
It did look a lot fresher.
But it ended up being, well, what are we playing for? Another draw? It's
So-
a loss.
With Wilmer Cabrera coming in, excuse me, do you think that's going to be a sign of us maybe utilizing younger potential talent, maybe from the RGV?
So I think that's more a dichotomy of actually our ownership.
Okay.
Our current ownership, i.e. Gabriel Brenner and his ownership investment group. They don't have deep pockets. They're not going to want to spend a lot of money. They just threw down a lot of money, or AEG did for Kubo, and that clearly was a complete and utter failure. So they're going to be gun shy on any move that is over a certain amount of money. And we're probably talking the next players, the elite level players that we're looking at are probably going to be from South America, Central America, probably in that $500 to $1 million range. Well, let's be honest. How many players in that range are currently top 10 in MLS? 0. So if that is going to be our top level talent at that money level, then it becomes imperative that we focus on the youth players, because we now, instead of acquiring those players via signings, we have to acquire those players via trade. We have to acquire those players via development through the academy, through RGV, through other teams, and then pulling them in through the draft, whatever it may be. We have to acquire those players through different means. That is where Matt Jordan is actually at his best. However, I don't know if he is capable of signing a top-level talent at $500,000 to $1 million per year.
Ooh, I don't think you can.
And I'm going to take that a step farther. If we look at the Raul signing, which was his most expensive signing outside, actually that was his most expensive signing, then that is pretty much proof positive that I don't think if he has even remotely any amount of money available, that he can find the right players that fit that money level. He is good at finding the Arbaledas. He's good at finding the Mauro Manotases. He's good at finding the Kaner Browns. But once he goes beyond those levels, those younger players that are potential players, what does he find? At this point, he's found jack squat. And I rest my hat on, is he capable going forward? And that's why I've continued to push, saying that ultimately my belief is that Jordan probably needs to be on his way out. And I'm willing to give him one more season only because he does have that money, and I will know halfway through this coming 2017 season whether he's capable of finding that talent at that level. And he needs to find not just decent players. He needs to find superstar level talent. He needs to find the Mauro Diaz. He needs to find the Fabian Castillos. And I don't know if he's capable of finding them outside of like a Mauro Manotas, who was brought in as a young player. I just don't know. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer.
No, and you're not. It makes a good point.
You make
Front
perfect
offices
sense.
ruin or make everything.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've noticed. And now, granted, there's started to be a change in MLS where a lot of these ownership groups are like, hey, we could double whatever we're investing in this if we invest in the right ways and spend money where it needs to be spent.
So right, perfect example of that is Colorado. Coming into this season, who did they have on their squad? Now look at how many top-level talent players they have. One season is all it takes. Jermaine Jones, Tim Howard. Who else do they have now? Badgie. Gashi. I mean, the list goes on. And these are very good players. And they forked over the money because the ownership understood that the only way that they were going to compete in this level of MLS is to fork over the money.
I also think that these ownership groups are stuck in a mindset to where this is an American sport and it can be ran like an American sport. Yeah. It can't. You have to spend money.
Hold on now the Houston way.
We are not
an MLS, and I'm not going to say soccer because we are a soccer city. We are not an MLS city though.
No.
We're not.
You have an MLS stadium
I don't
without
see,
the
So now I have a question. Define what an MLS city is.
Well,
a full house stadium,
Portland
a full stadium,
has to spend money.
A stadium that's not a fan base that is not bandwagons. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, but you know how you
because
get
that
those?
stadium has been empty.
You spend money. You have to spend money to put fans in seats.
But
I disagree completely with that.
Really?
Winning
FC Dallas.
Winning cures everything that ails you, and that's exactly my point.
FC Dallas.
This team, the Dynamo, are being built to function, to operate, and to improve, just like Dallas did it. It's just that Dallas did it 5 years before we started, and we got ourselves into a rut by letting Dom continue for too long. We needed to cut ties probably 2 to 3 years before we did. Probably the 2010 season when we sucked majorly.
Kind of
we needed to cut then, and we needed to start moving towards this mode. that to me also, though, speaks to an ineptitude on our front office. And I like, from a personal standpoint, from an individual standpoint, our front office individuals. But from a sports business standpoint, I don't know if Kennedy has it. And that's why Matt Jordan was brought in. And to be honest, if Matt Jordan doesn't have it, that's a major X for Kennedy going forward. So, like I said, 1 year, and I think that goes for everybody in the front office.
I think it should. I think that leash
I agree.
needs to be
Yeah,
extremely short.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
I think
That's how
honestly,
I
I
felt
think
about,
that 1 year for Kennedy is a little
well, that's
bit
how I
too
felt
long.
about the Union. If they didn't make the moves they did and they didn't start turning around, Sakowicz should have been out the door real quick.
So now I'm going to throw out another name to you. That if Wilmer does become the head coach of Houston, then who do we get for head coach of RGV? Paul Dalglish.
Explain.
Explain, yeah.
So Paul Dalglish was the head coach of San Antonio not that long ago, or Austin Aztecs. He proved that he is capable of pulling the most talent out of the least amount of talented individuals there possibly could be. Yes. He made players that had
Did you
no.
say Anibaba?
I did. He made players that had no business playing at that level look like superstars at that level. And they went on. The three of those players in particular that I can think of, Kikuta Mana, and now of course I'm going to draw a blank because I'm staring into the camera. But there's two other players that I'm thinking of that I can't remember. But there were three players on that Aztecs team that year that he had them that became high top-level talent on other teams that were either drafted to other teams or that were signed by other teams. And so as a head coach, right, you give him that head coach opportunity at USL, you are giving him the opportunity that if Cabrera does happen to fail, you have somebody that can step in at the MLS level, that understands how MLS works, understands how USL Pro works, and let him begin to develop as time goes on, if
Kind of
necessary.
working as just a ladder.
It has to be, though, right?
Mhm. You have
Because
to
if
have
you
a
don't-
backup.
it's
You have
your
to have. I
backup
hate to
plan.
say it's a backup plan. You have
So
to have
that's
that backup plan.
And that's what we ran into with Dom, right?
Yep.
We didn't have a backup plan in place, and what happened?
Boom, Owen Coyle.
I mean, we had Wade Barrett, right? He's going to be okay. He'll be fine, but
Yeah.
we're starting to see that maybe that's not the truth. And if you don't give those coaches a chance to prove themselves, to see if they're even worth keeping around, are you really helping the team or are you hurting it?
Yep. So with the beginning of the off season, it starts today for us. We do have the expansion draft coming up, and that's fun. We've been reading over these rules, trying to make sense of them. There
Hashtag
are
MLS.
yes. Hashtag MLS rules. It's
It's a lot.
a lot. So the expansion.
I'll make him link the rules in their
Yes.
Twitter so that you guys can read them and go, okay, cool, yeah.
Everything's pretty laid out, except when you get to the international players. It's a little confusing.
And the
'cause you
DP
have to do
players.
math.
And the DP players, because we have been stating in our previous podcast
Yes.
that DP players are protected. They are not automatically protected.
So-
Not this year.
per
not
last
this
year.
year.
Yeah, per
Yes.
the last expansion draft, they were automatically protected. Not now. The expansion draft does take place December 13th. It's a Tuesday. I'll probably watch it.
The
I don't know if
expansion
1
draft
p.m.
is
Central?
not.
Oh, yeah, 1
The
p.m.
expansion
Central.
draft's not necessarily going to hurt us because at most we only lose one.
Yes.
You lose one,
Well, let's back up before that.
but
At most, we don't even have 11 players that I feel like need to be protected.
to be protected. That's
So
why it was kind of hard to
are
write
we really
this.
being
Yes.
hurt by the expansion draft? I think the answer
It's
to that is
not
no.
really.
However, to be honest with you guys, there
It
are
could come
GMs
out
that
positive.
should be able to leverage the expansion draft to add talent that are not already currently with the team.
Yes.
So you have teams that are going to leave players unprotected that the Dynamo may want to grab. So you start making calls to Minnesota and to Atlanta, and you say, hey, if you guys pick this player, we'll trade you a player from our team that maybe you want that we won't leave unprotected because we want that other player instead over the player that we're willing to give you.
So, Josh and I, we both have our 11 that we would protect, and that's barring DP roles, international players, all those good things. Josh, you want to go first? What team you keep?
Yeah, I'm going to start with our defense. Guys, this was not easy to write because just like he said, there really wasn't an 11 squad to really protect, so we just kind of had to fix something together. The standout stars, though, is I really want to see David Horst stay. You know, I think that him and Rodriguez pairing together as a center back team, I know.
Sorry,
I think that
I'm
him
paying-
and Rodriguez
I'm paying my
pairing up,
tribute to Dave.
or him and August teaming up together as a team, I loved it. I thought it was great. I love their chemistry. I thought they were great standout center backs. Then I got to go with Williams. You're welcome there, Justin.
I know.
I have to go with Williams. I do like his attacking wingers situation that he has for defense. And then I'm gonna throw a wild card out here, Mansali. Yeah, I just like his physical. I just like his physicality. You know, I think he's a strong, fast player. He makes those chances. Depending on how it turns out, you know, it could be better or worse for him. I'm gonna stick with Mansali over Ani Baba.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Midfielder, Andrew Wenger, my boy. Andrew Wenger picking up the number 11 from Brad Davis this season. And Andrew Wenger getting the goal, right place, right time. He showed up at the beginning of the season. He kind of went stalemate for most of the season, but as far as attack went, that's all we really had besides the Manotas breakout. Colin Warner, I like him as a central defensive midfielder. I think he's perfect in that role. He's really stepped it up over over this latter half of the season. First half, I didn't really get to see too much of him, but second half of the season, he showed up for me. Arguably, possibly, besides Alex, there's one other MVP, but I got to go with Alex. Possible MVP for us this year. Alex is definitely going to stay. Then you got Boniek Garcia, Ricardo Clark, and I'm going to say Ricardo Clark and Boniek Garcia both for the veteran status. I have to stick with them just because of veteran status.
So
you're gonna need a captain. You're gonna need someone leading that. And I like Clark just because of the way he can cross the ball over the field anytime he wants.
So let me ask you this though: Are you trying to stay at a regular age, or are you trying to maybe go old? Or well, not go old, but have some older.
Granted, this was not an easy 11 to pick. No. The only veterans I would want to keep around are the Garcia and Clark because of they've known the team, they've known the city so well, and really and truly, I mean, Rico, it's Rico for me, man.
Yeah.
And then attack is Mauro Manotas, and then goalkeeper I'm gonna choose Joe Willis over Tyler Derrick. And everybody should know why Joe Willis over Tyler Derrick. I mean, come on, man, he just won save of the week off that double save. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then going to MVP real quick. I'm going to say Alex. I'm going to throw Alex out there. Yeah, I could be completely wrong for MVP, but Alex, yeah. I got to say that. his suspensions may hurt him in that race, but all in all, yeah.
All right, Sean, who's
Sean,
your
what you got?
I actually agree on goalkeeper. I think Willis is definitely the way forward, and partially because A, Derek makes a little bit more, and then B, Derek is not the same player he was prior to injuries. I completely agree with that. Defensively, I actually keep Ani Baba because at his price for depth, I think that's worthwhile. I keep Kaner Brown. I keep Agus because at his price for what he gave us this year, he was fantastic prior to his injury. And I keep Sebastian Ibiaga. Who you did not mention.
about him?
Oh,
yeah. And don't forget, by the way, if you read the
forget
rules,
about
that
them.
all of these supplemental and reserve players are available. So you'll note as I go forward how many of these I actually protect. Midfielders, I protect Wenger. If you are not protecting Wenger, get out of here. You shouldn't go even use it. I protect Luka. We absolutely have to protect Luka, mainly because he's a homegrown player. I protect Memo because he is an MLS he's signed to an MLS contract, and he has been outstanding for RGV this year. I'm sad he didn't get a call up to our team because he had a chance to be.
Memo
fantastic.
is correct me if not. Is he loaned out to RGV? Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's on an MLS contract.
Yeah. So for those of y'all that don't know, is Christian Lucatera and Christian Memo Rodriguez. Is it Christian? No. I'm gonna say Memo Rodriguez because I can't remember his first name off the top of my head. Both of these players have been loaned down to
RGV.
RGV. I gotta say loaned up basically to RGV.
They were loaned to Wilmer for a season to develop.
Yes, and I'm sorry, Memo and Luca both phenomenal. He's naming. Damn it! Can I redo my list?
Nope,
here?
too late.
He's naming all these players that I was thinking about.
We have a lot of the same.
Yeah.
So you guys like old players apparently.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I like the young players.
Man.
I'm just going for the youth.
Yeah,
movement.
he's going for the youth.
So my next, you didn't even let me finish.
I'm sorry.
That's
sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
You're okay. You're okay. So I actually agree on Alex, and the main reason for that is because at his price point for what he provided this season, I don't agree he's MVP, but we'll get to that in a second. That he was still one of our best players, and at that price point, I just can't turn away from him. Even if he's going to, not be a starter the entire season, it's still way too hard to pass up that value, especially with the ownership discussion we had just a little while ago.
Yes.
And then my last midfielder is Yair Abeleda. In his one match for the Dynamo this season,
Against LA.
he proved that he belongs. He's not 90-minute match fit. I agree with that, but I think he can get there in the offseason, and I think he can get there over time. And he's one of those that, as a raw talent, is a chance to really, really strike gold. And my last player, and I know this is going to come as a complete surprise to everybody, is Mauro Manotas.
Why? Why on earth?
I had to pick
Get
an
off our
11th
show.
player.
I
I had to
didn't
pick
know
an 11th player. No. Mauro has proven that he is exactly what we were hoping we would get, which is a low price point for a top-level talent. And I do believe, without a shadow of a doubt, as a single striker, which I don't think that's even his best position, that he is a top-level talent.
Real fast before we get to yours, I'm going to say, as far as off-season goes, you build around Mauro Manotas as far as his attack, because that's a player that looks like an MVP for me.
And he's doing it
An
without
MVP of the league, not our team.
And he did that without a true number 10 behind him.
Yep.
Some people will say, oh, well, Maidana was back there, you had Boney back there, but they're not true 10s. Maidana wants to be a true 10, but he doesn't play like a true 10 like 80% of the time. We strike gold with him every 3 to 4 matches, but that's the extent of how good he is. So for Mauro to rack up the number of goals in the short time that he did, and for Mauro to do it without the backing of players behind him at the right talent and the right ability levels, shows that he's a player that if you get those players around him, those elite playmakers, although probably more than $1 million per year, he could be a phenomenal find that ultimately probably doesn't stick around in Orange long term, but makes you a ton of transfer money in the long run.
Who's your who would be your veteran / captain kind of role next year?
In this team?
With the 11 that you've
and the 11 you've picked, Willis,
Joe
Willis.
I can't give it to Alex because I don't really see him as a captain type player.
I agree.
I think maybe over the duration of the season you give it to Agus and maybe you shift to Wenger some, because I think Wenger has proven he could be that type of captain.
Yes.
When he comes on the pitch, there is no doubt that energy is injected into that lineup. And he's also a phenomenal player too. Wenger plus Manotas is great. I love it.
I love it. Yep.
And so he's another one that I think over the duration of an entire season you could shift the armband to, and they become Willis, Agus, and Wenger from my 11 that I protect would be my 3 long-term team captains for the season.
So I have Willis on mine too. The only thing that bothers me about Willis, and it's him and a little bit of Derek too, when you see a lot of these top-tier keepers, they are screaming out to their defense.
I will say,
You
Willis
need that.
improved in
He
that
did.
area
You need
this
that.
season, towards the end of the season, but
You
it
need
took
to
him
be
a lot of
vocal.
matches.
You
Agreed
need that,
completely.
yes.
You have to be vocal.
As a keeper, you need to have the biggest mouth on the pitch.
Yep.
Agreed.
You know, so mine, there's no rank. I didn't even really go for position. I just picked my personal best 11 that I think we should keep. Escalante, I think he has potential. I know at times he looked a little shaky, but I think a lot of that was just he's young.
Nerves.
He's really young. It was his nerves. Definitely Boniak. Boniak looked decent midway through the year. I don't know if he's a starter, especially if you keep Maidana and Wenger. I see him maybe coming off a bench, but he adds some kind of depth.
He adds more ball possession and unique style ball possession just with the kind of tricks that he's done. I've seen it multiple times, and and that's what I like. He keeps the ball.
Yeah. Now,
You know,
I did
that-
see he reminded me about Mimo. I totally forgot about Mimo.
Cheater.
I know, right? You know.
Definitely Mimo. I had Horst written in, but I don't know. Horst had his moments this year. He looked really good. He was also hurt. I don't know. You're gonna find out a trend from me. I really just don't know about this team, so it's hard.
It's a tough team, you know, and you know, do I see us doing what Colorado did, going from 18th to 2nd place next year? No. I wish.
So another, of course, and yes, I am biased, but you definitely keep Maidana, Wenger, and Williams. I think Williams also adds a much needed improvement on defense, especially if we lose Beasley, which I personally seem to think we're going to. I think he could give you a lot of what Beasley has to offer if they allow him to play his style of play instead of trying to coach him back. The Steinberger, I didn't see a whole lot of him, but I have read a lot of good things about him.
Yep.
I wish he had more playing time with us this year. Manotas, of course, like Josh said, you definitely build the team around him next year. If there's one guy on this team, he is the one guy you make sure goes nowhere for years. Granted, I want to see what he does next year. There's always a sophomore slump with players. I hope that he can keep it up, the way he finished the season out. Almost had a goal today. Almost had an assist today.
He set that goal up. That was his goal. He set that up himself. And I like that because it was so tight.
I did say Joe Willis. I'm still kind of on the fence about Raul Rodriguez. I like his play. It's hard because he was also hurt and out a lot of matches. Not as much as Beasley, but it's the sample size of some of these guys are small.
The whole lights up.
Wow. And then Alex. The only drawback I have on Alex is watch your attitude. I like a hard-nosed player, but you cannot be getting us cards and get suspended for matches when we need you.
He got better.
He did get better.
He got a lot better.
He just needed to keep his cool in Seattle and would have been all right. But he couldn't even do that.
Did he get a card in Seattle?
Yeah, he got that card in Seattle and was suspended the next match.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't watch that
It's okay.
snooze fest.
But that's my 11. Kubo definitely is not on that. I don't want to.
I noticed that Kubo's not
again.
on any of our lists, but I don't think that's really surprising considering. A name that's not on any of our lists that I'm only going to bring up because I'm curious is Callie Brown. He is signed to an MLS contract. He is the third backup keeper basically, but he has become the backup keeper for the Dynamo. You can only protect 11 players, and he played well enough at RGV to warrant other teams looking at him because he is so young.
Now, refresh my memory. Did he play? Granted, they don't matter. Did he play the Charities Cup?
I think he got a half.
Okay.
No, I don't remember.
I don't remember if he played the whole match or if he was subbed in.
Either he
half.
played the Charities Cup or he played that away game for Chivas.
Oh yeah.
Did he also,
the away game, the quote unquote away game.
Away game.
Did he also play any Open Cup matches?
I don't think he did because we still had Derek and
That's true.
it was Willis was
They were
starting
still,
those.
That's
they were
another
still going
thing.
back and forth.
And I think that's where this front office and the coaching has failed us. You have young talent and gave them no minutes.
I said it earlier.
That's been the heartstring though. Basically, it's that. Okay, my take is look at FC Dallas. They've had that young talent. We don't go after that.
No.
It's not the. It's sadly.
But
enough,
I
it's
wonder
not the Dynamo
how hard
way.
they're looking north of us and being like, we should really get on our game because if not, Dallas is going to kick our ass.
So does the Dynamo make another big deep dive during the offseason and try to sign another player such as Kubo?
I still think you have
Because
to.
we're gonna open up some DP spots here.
Yeah, we'll have 3 DP spots open. We won't. I mean,
Yeah.
if Kubo is not with the Dynamo, if Kubo is not with the Dynamo in 2017, the Dynamo will have 3 slots available if Beasley doesn't stick around.
Beasley's not gonna stay because he won't be not at a DP
contract
spot.
level.
Yeah,
No.
and guys, and I hate to say it, but you said it earlier. I was saying 400,000. You said 250 maybe.
Mine was like 325.
That's how much we were saying.
I like how you cut that right in the
They
middle.
will offer. Yeah, that's how much they will basically offer DeMarcus Beasley to stay. He's making 800.
not from a fan standpoint.
Something around there.
roughly.
If you're him, do you take that? What other teams are really going to take you at this point? You're old, you're injury prone, you're good, but you're injury prone.
That's the
Chicago,
question.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I don't see him stepping foot in Philly.
No, I don't either.
But Chicago, I can't see. I can see Chicago. They're grasping at straws. But
I don't think. I will say I don't think he's done. And I think the Dynamo, if as I suspect they end up sticking with that 500 to 1 million range for even their DPs, then it is likely that Beasley is offered a contract that's more than what I want to sign him for, which is closer to the 400 500 range. Actually 400 because 500 gets into the DP level, but 400 range. Now it's also possible that what they do is they use Gam and Tam next year on Beasley to drop him down under DP level so they don't have to jack with his contract. That's stupid, But that's also our Dynamo front office right now.
I have to agree with you. I think that we're gonna make some dumb decision here during off season.
There's just too much room.
Because of
there's too much
honestly
room to do
just
it.
because of the name.
Yeah.
Just because of the name alone.
Well, they have to feel like he's an attendance draw to some
Yeah,
degree.
because you don't really have much
But-
to draw people in. Kubo was a flop. What else you got?
Morrow now.
You got Morrow, but I don't see him. As
Your
far as-
ratio,
I
your
don't
ratio's
see-
not looking good on
Well,
DBs
yeah, so
that are
you're- so
good
you're
to
losing-
DBs that are bad.
You've
Yeah.
lost over the last 2 to 3 years. You've lost your name players in exchange for players that are mid-level talent to right below
But
that upper echelon that are no longer names. Because you're, again, right, this is the ownership problem. With an ownership like we have to bring in players that fit our capabilities from a payment standpoint. You can't bring in a name player if your ownership can't afford to do it.
This is true. Yeah.
We can't
This is
look.
true.
We're never going to bring
And-
in a Pirlo. We're never going to bring in Gerard. We're never going to bring in a Landon Donovan. It's just not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen. It's not. It's just.
But
It's sadly
how
enough.
long-
It's
how
not the
long
Dynamo way.
With watching these other teams do that until either they realize they are failing at this,
I'll
and
give it.
you get 100 people here for a match.
That's going to depend on how this offseason goes. Again, Jordan has more money available to him and a slight bit more salary available to sign players, 4 players, in this offseason than he's had before. If he can prove that, you know what, he can still find talent at at those levels, then not really, it will be fine. If he proves that he's not able to sign players at that level that have the talent of somebody who should be worth really more than that level, then we're going to run into some real problems because you can't, if you bring in players and you can't transfer them out and they're valuable players, so to speak, then you're sticking yourself with a bunch of dead weight. Kubo is the perfect example of dead weight.
Yeah.
If
No.
Cruz Azul do not transfer him in, then it's completely 100% dead weight
dead weight
because
for
we are
us, yep.
stuck. If they do transfer him in, they're going to pay a little bit less than we paid, which means that we sunk roughly $500,000 to $1 million into a player that did nothing for us.
If he stays, how much do you play him?
I think you showcase him. You're gonna have to get somebody to take him.
So you're
By
going to
summer transfer window.
Are you going to play a 2-forward formation, or are you going to play a single striker formation and sacrifice Morrow's development?
No,
that's
you'd
where
have to. You'd have to play
It's
2
tough.
strikers. That you can't bench Mara Manotas right now.
You can't.
But isn't
You
this
can't.
worst case scenario?
This is worst case scenario, but still, you would have to play 2 strikers up top, which can and cannot be a bad thing either. I mean,
So let me throw an idea out to you. What if you play a 4-3-3 and you play Manotas on one wing and Wenger on
And
the other wing, and then you have
Kubo inside.
and Kubo inside. I mean, it works, but it's actually not ideal because you're still
Yeah.
playing the same players that gave you this season. You got to improve.
But I honestly have to say that wouldn't be a bad idea because I've seen Mara Manotas get behind that defense, go out to the winger, shoot the ball inside, nobody's there.
Yep.
But
So
what
multiple
have you?
times.
But what have
because
you seen
he's the
from
lone
Kubo
striker, and
to do that? He hasn't shown us anything the years he's been here.
No.
and
Absolutely
that's on
nothing.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
That's-
part of that is I think he came in unprepared. I think he came in lacking fitness. I think he came in as not a practice player. He doesn't like to practice.
I was saying it's because he hasn't had consecutive starts, but
I don't.
You're reaching really far for that one.
There's-
Because he did have consecutive starts, but that's neither here nor there.
No.
So I lost my train of thought. You're going to have to go with whatever you're going to talk about. Dang it, it was so good.
I don't
too.
either. But so we want to hear from you guys at some point during this off season. You can email us, you can tweet us, you can Facebook us, whatever.
and guys, by the way, this is
Hashtag.
just our opinion.
Yes,
Yes.
this is just our opinion.
This is just our opinion. We're not, we're not analysis by any means.
No.
We're
This
fans.
guy-
we're discovering him.
I'm just
on
kidding.
the other
I'm
hand,
just kidding.
is a little bit more professional. I like this.
I'm a fan. I am
I love
absolutely
this,
100% a fan. But, and most people don't know this, but I do talk to a lot of people. I get a lot of information that most people don't get. And I am one of those that does not burn my sources. And the main reason for that is because I was in the journalism field for a little bit, doing stuff with Dynamo Theory, doing stuff with Orange in the Oven, and doing stuff with Generation Orange. So I have to be careful with that. But as a result of that time, I gained contacts that allow me to have inside information that other people simply don't get. That thing was huge. It was a moth, by the way.
Oh.
I don't know if the camera picked it up. It was about that big.
I saw something reflected.
So because of that, though, I also have a different perspective than the
fan base
everyday
that we have,
fan has. And I think even to some degree, the hardcore fans, the fans that are at every game, the fans that are chanting and cheering, the fans that like to get drunk and yell and heckle.
There's chanting in our stadium?
There is. It's in the top section over there. Actually, at the beginning of the season,
Which
when they
top
moved
section?
them
The away section or
the
the quarter section?
Notice I didn't say that to you. Ouch. Ooh, love you, Leah. So basically, what I'm saying is that, you know, those fans, i.e. you guys, and, you know, those that attend all the matches and do all that, they are a little bit more educated because they do the research. They are engaged on Twitter. They try to find out what they can. It really is half the battle.
It's half the battle.
Yeah,
but at the same time, right, your casual fan, that's who the Dynamo are trying to target right now with all their marketing and everything. And I think, honestly, this season they just failed miserably. And I think attendance shows that. You know, yes, you can have a sucky team, but this is still soccer. It's still a fun sport. Now, granted, what was being played in that stadium was not fun, but it's still a fun sport. You still need to find ways to bring fans in. And I think it's a bit of a crappy situation for the front office because they do have a losing team. But you can't let that stop you. You've got to have better attendance. You've got to figure out ways to have butts in seats at the beginning of matches. I think the cattle call thing with Chick-fil-A's cattle call or whatever the heck they call it was a huge step forward, but it is up to the fans to make it a reality. If we are all in our seats, even when attendance is low, it makes the stadium rock. And so I'm telling you guys, if you're fans, if you're not in your seat when the cattle call starts, or at least gets close to the end, I'm gonna find you.
MLS playoff picture.
Real fast. Going back though.
Where were we even talking about?
We need the fans in the seats when the
Yes,
cannon goes off. We
Yes.
have our cannon back, and I truthfully believe that's a good luck charm for us.
Yes.
I mean, I hate to say it. I believe in superstition.
It wasn't 2 years ago.
When we lost it,
That's what I'm talking about.
we lost it to Dallas, and look what happened to Dallas.
Yeah.
When we had it, look what happened to us.
Yep.
It was
Just
different.
saying.
You know, it was
Just
different. You know, I'm just saying. You know, that's just superstitious. God, I have to grab onto something for next year. I need some kind of positive hope. I get to see my cannon shoot off again.
Yeah. But so yeah, again, it's promotions like that get fans into the seats. It's focusing on what you have. Trying not to lean back too far. It's focusing on what you have as the light is off.
No, it's fine.
We're gonna
We
have
have
an
enough light now.
We're gonna have an outcast
Actually,
reel
string lights,
eventually on
yeah,
this.
That'll be great. But anyways, you've got the potential for some pretty epic promotions when it comes to the cannon, when it comes to, you know, not getting wooden spoon. Thank you, Lord.
Thank God.
And, you know, the 50 other things that we didn't do this season. But, you know, you've got promotions around Morrow. The whole meet a player and talk to a player is cool, but it wears out after one time.
Yep.
They need to come up with something more inventive. There's got to be a way to integrate fans far more than they do. And I feel like at times this season, it was almost like they didn't want to use some of those promotional ideas because if they did, they wouldn't be able to use them necessarily again next season. So I think we'll see more promotions next season. But coming back to what I was saying with the fans, you know, it's our responsibility as fans to be in our seats, to cheer and chant. Did it start doing it?
Almost.
To cheer and chant for the team. You know, these guys are giving 90 minutes, most of them, on the field. They're dying in sweat and humidity out here. And there are fans that don't even want to get into their, you know, at least get into their seat. And then there are those that don't even bother to stand up on corner kicks. F you. You know, okay, look, I sit in 102.
He calls it like I say it.
Okay,
Like,
I sit in 102 in the second row. I am literally right behind the corner flag, and there have been times that I didn't want to stand, even when the Dynamo were doing the corner kick, because it felt so hopeless. But you know what? I stand anyways, I cheer anyways, because you know what? They're my team. And if you don't have that level of adoption of the team yet, find a way to get it.
I think no, not yet. I think I've actually sat next to you a couple games, man. Yeah, you said 102.
102.
That used to be my section. Now I'm 130. I'm across from you.
Probably.
Yeah, I think I've sat
lost
next
track.
to you, man. Yeah, I've definitely sat next to you before. That's awesome.
yeah.
Small world.
Oh,
Small
yeah, it's
world.
coming up. You keep messing up.
So if you're on the live feed, I'm going to throw out my
we're
Twitter
good.
handle just because
Yes.
you should totally
Yeah,
follow
please,
me.
yes.
Yes.
At Sean Ringrose. And these guys will tell you, I engage people on Twitter all the time.
does.
If you have questions, if you are, you know, if you have questions, thoughts, whatever it may be, I try to do like weekly discussion topics on Twitter and engage as many people as possible. Feel free to shoot me a line and I will be happy to share your questions,
Yes.
whatever it may be. You know, the only way that we all get educated is to talk, is to discuss, and that's why I try to do these things when I can. It's not very often, but you know,
And we appreciate you
Yes.
coming on our
This-
show. You know,
this is
awesome.
this has been great.
This was the whole point of Josh and I starting this,
Yeah.
was to connect with fans
Yes.
and create the more well-informed fan.
Absolutely,
And that creates a better fan.
it does.
Guys, also, just a quick advertisement here. We're filming over at King's Court off of 903 Hutchins Street, right in front of the beautiful BBVA Compass Stadium. Come on over here, check
It's
this
even
out.
better when it's empty.
Yeah, it really
You're
is.
not
yeah.
seeing a losing team on the pitch.
You can see it when he gets out of the way.
Hey, go ahead, David.
The beautiful
no, Van, I like that.
BBVA Compass Stadium, ladies and gentlemen.
We have our friend David.
Oh,
He's
hold on.
Our friend
down,
David
down,
here.
down again, Chuck.
Another friend. of ours.
BBVA.
Vanna
All your
White,
dreams can fucking turn into nightmares.
Vanna White, you shaved your head.
all right.
Yeah, cancer.
Well, I was leading backwards. That was
So,
dangerous.
anywho, guys, Kings Court, 903 Hutchins Street. Check us out over here. We do our live feeds. Well, we started doing them after the games. I don't really know how many. We'll post some events if we do some more here during the
Yeah,
off season.
we'll do some. We'll try to do some stuff in the off season.
Yeah.
If not,
Come over here and check us out, though.
Yeah.
Jay, the owner here, is an amazing guy. Thank you so much for letting us use your Wi-Fi. This is
Yeah,
awesome, man.
it is pretty awesome.
Glenn Davis comes and hangs out over here occasionally. Really friendly guy. Check him out as well.
And I just want to say, it is a fantastic location. This is my first time in this particular
it's a pub.
pub, tavern thing, and it is a very open downstairs. They've got a nice outside out downstairs and upstairs, and it is a really nice establishment. And you know, we should support places like this. We should support, you know, as Dynamo fans.
Yes.
We should support places like this that support not only the Dynamo but support people in
This,
Thank
you
you.
know,
Interests
the
like
appeal,
these guys do.
the
Thank you,
appeal,
guys.
you know, Glenn Davis.
Yes.
You know, this is a soccer bar. It doesn't look like it when you walk in, but it's
They
a
do,
soccer bar. They do EPL games here. You know, every weekend.
It is. It's the Man U bar, I believe.
I believe
Oh.
so. There's a Man United fan down there. You know,
There's a dude.
looked like a hardcore fan. To be honest with you. So, anywho, guys, we're gonna move on to the scores today. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Seattle won that game against RSL 2-1.
yeah.
Scores there. Who got the scores on that one there? Fernandez, Mulholland, and Christian Roldan. I'm not going to go through these names here. That's
Okay.
too many. Seattle won 2-1. Okay, against RSL. LA Galaxy.
By the way, these are all online, so you're watching online. You could totally pull these up and follow along with us.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's
Throw
just
that
on
out
the
there.
MLS app, guys. You know, it was today was a
LA
big day. It was decision day. All games happened at once. I love decision day.
LA
It's better when
couldn't,
we're going in there. So
LA couldn't
better
do
when
us
we
a
have
it's
something
solid.
to
better
play
we have
for.
something to play for. But
LA couldn't do us a solid.
LA couldn't do anything apparently
No,
today.
apparently they couldn't do
Although,
anything.
to be fair, neither could FC Dallas. So.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and neither could Houston. This is the one day we needed Houston to definitely lose.
leave it up to the two games that we needed an outcome. Both of them came out to draws, 0-0 and 1-1. Yeah,
Yep.
that great guys.
Let it be known, we are not the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
Thank
Chicago
you,
takes
Chicago.
that.
Thank you.
But however, though, we get second pick in the draft.
Yep.
We don't have a first-round draft pick.
We don't, because we traded it off, didn't we?
Yep.
I knew it.
Sure did.
Man,
We don't have a first-round draft
you
pick, and we are second worst in the league.
Yeah.
Yay! Idiots.
So
God.
then we also Sporting KC took 2
Sorry.
away from San Jose. That really meant nothing.
No, it did because Portland losing.
Yeah.
Portland lost 4-0 today. Goodness, they got trounced.
Portland didn't put up
Yeah.
a fight. They were like,
No, and that's today or this year was a horrible campaign for a defending champion.
All in all, guys, let's not break down too many of the scores here. We're gonna go straight into the playoff.
Yeah, who made the playoffs?
Yeah,
That's all that
let's
means.
go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
playoff scenarios here. FC Dallas won Supporter Shield. Colorado took second place in Western. LA Galaxy followed right behind them. Seattle, Sporting Kansas City, and then Real Salt Lake getting that final playoff spot for the West. The Eastern playoffs was New York Red Bulls took the top spot, New York City FC right behind them, Toronto FC just a point behind them in third place, DC United, Montreal Impact, and the Philadelphia Union.
They squeaked in.
They had a good goal differential there, so they did kind of squeak in there. The most was the Sporting Kansas kind of squeaked in.
Yeah, but they were fourth at one point in the season. They were first at one point.
What's really interesting about that is they actually had the exact same line, wins, loss, draw.
Yep.
As
New
England, and New England didn't make it because of the goal differential.
Yeah, there was prior to that match, there was a 12 goal
So
goal difference.
let nobody tell you that defense doesn't matter, because defense absolutely matters, because goal differential matters.
Yeah.
And the way this works is the top 2 teams in each conference get a bye week.
Yes.
The bottom 4 have to play midweek in somewhat of a wild card situation
It's a
there.
play-in match.
Play-in
and
match, yes.
It's just a single match. So it's a one-game match for third
Yes.
and fourth, basically, to get a chance to play first and second in the conference.
First game is going to be on ESPN2 on Wednesday, the 26th at 6:30. It's Toronto hosting your Philadelphia Union. Man, I will be pulling for you guys.
It's going to be
no,
tough.
I won't. I want Toronto to win this damn MLS game.
You shut your mouth.
I want Philly to win it, to be honest, just for the pure fact of seeing Philly move on when they sucked so bad for so long.
Yeah.
To show that that is still alive.
If
and well.
they can get past Toronto FC on Wednesday, you guys have a real chance.
Oh, definitely.
You guys
But
have a real chance. You're going against
people don't
Sebastian
realize-
Giovinco, Michael Bradley, and Josie Altidore.
People don't realize Philadelphia has some of the deepest soccer history in the U.S. since soccer has been a thing here. Bethlehem still it's tied for the most Open Cup championships. You had the Philadelphia Ukrainians that tore up everything that they touched. That was way before my time, I believe
I remember
60s.
the 40s.
Before my time, too.
You even had the Kicks that were good. You had what was the women's team? They were good, but soccer's rooted in Philadelphia.
The next game is going to be at 9:30, same day. LA is going to play host to Real Salt Lake. That should be another good one. That's kind of a little bit of a rivalry there, heading into playoffs there, Does Landon Donovan get to start?
He's
No.
I don't see him starting in the playoffs. I think they were only trying
I
to
don't think so either, man.
minutes, and I don't know. I still that whole situation.
Is he going to
makes no
retire
sense.
after? What if he wins an MVP one year? Is he
I'm
going
gonna
to
tell you right now, if they win the MLS Cup, I'm gonna have a real issue with MLS.
That game's going to be on Unimas at 9:30, guys.
Yes. You forgot one in Eastern.
No, he didn't get
No,
that.
no.
you didn't get there?
Next day
No,
is
that's
at
27.
on the
Read that
Thursday.
wrong.
You got
Yeah. So at 6:30 our time on Unimas, we got DC United and Montreal Impact. I don't see Didier Drogba playing. At least I don't see him playing anymore at all for Montreal.
this DC United team is on fire.
They are.
They're on fire right now. Besides the game today, I honestly think they're just resting people.
Yep.
You know,
I'm going to go out on a limb and say if Montreal don't start Drogba, they don't win.
They played well without him.
I'm just saying, they don't start him, they don't win.
I don't think it's if they want to start him. I think it's if he wants to play.
That's my point.
Well,
Yeah.
if
I-
he's not on the
yeah.
starting 11, he already threw a fit last time. Well, don't even put me on the 18. There is rumor bouncing around with him, with Napoli, about him trying to maybe go to Italy. It's rumor.
You know what? Good riddance.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
good riddance. I'm so sick and tired of Didier Drogba. I didn't like him when he played for Chelsea, and yeah, you're done, dude. Just go. I don't like his attitude,
Yeah.
bro.
He's still better than any striker we have.
This is true. If he played for the Dynamo, it'd probably be a different story. But
Yeah.
then he'd get bad blood with me because he wouldn't want to be playing for our team because he's such a little diva.
So, speaking
And then
of,
there's one more game.
there is one more game. We have
Seattle's playing host to Sporting Kansas City. You can find that game at 9 p.m. on Fox Sports 1. Seattle is going to take it to them, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Seattle's another team that's
It's a match
slowly
of teams
riding.
I absolutely can't stand and hate.
Yeah, they're slowly riding up those ladders, man. These are
Yep.
wow. The best breakout time is at the end of the season, obviously, because you ride that momentum heading into off season, man. You ride that momentum throughout that playoff. It's a different tournament now. It's a different tournament. You forget about MLS regular season. It's a different tournament. It's up for grabs.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And those will close out the wild card games before we head into before we head into the two-legged series.
Yeah.
So.
They start the end of the month, beginning of November.
October 30th.
Yep. I'm pulling up the dates haven't been announced for the CONCACAF Champions League. I'm a big Champions League guy. We do have a decent amount of MLS clubs in it. The first knockout round matches should start around February 21st. We had I don't know if you've watched a lot of the group stage, but it was kind of fun to watch.
It's been a little bit, group stage is great. I kind of get into the knockout rounds when it comes down to it.
So we have Portland that advanced. We have Sporting KC that advanced with the Whitecaps in Group C. Portland came in second in Group B. Then we had the Red Bulls in Group F. They won their group. And then we had FC Dallas, who just cleaned house.
And guys,
in
these will
Group
pick
H.
up next year.
Yes.
Yes, the knockout rounds
No.
will pick up next year.
No.
Nobody can. Not even their fans.
For those of y'all that don't know about CCL, CONCACAF Champions League is the UEFA Champions League of the CONCACAF area.
Yep.
The CONCACAF region, excuse me.
Now, granted, it will typically always boil down to La Liga MX and MLS. But this year, I think MLS has a really good chance.
I've said that the last, 5.
Yeah.
I've said that every time MLS has hosted the Champions
RSL, Sporting KC,
League. Yeah.
Seattle.
Dropping it. Montreal Impact.
Yep.
Getting these great leads. So, when the first team... It'll be historic when the first MLS team actually wins it. It will be a huge thing because it will not only win them the league, but it will qualify them for the FIFA Club World Cup.
Yes.
And when they play against teams such as Barcelona. And that's when we'll get annihilated.
Yeah. That would be brutal.
At this point, does it really mean anything?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that, but
Not yet.
that should not be our measuring stick right now.
No, not by any means.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see an MLS team win just to see an MLS team win it. But I want to see an MLS team win it and then go to Club World Cup and compete.
Yeah.
Not just play, but compete on that level. Now,
Well, with what David just said, I think Dallas has the best shot as much as I hate it.
Dallas is built for these types of tournaments. They
Yes.
really, really are. They're built for. They're not as funny as it sounds. They're the Supporters Cup, the Supporters Shield winner, but they're not built for MLS play necessarily. They have players that can play MLS,
Yep.
but they're built for playing against CONCACAF teams, playing against European teams. They're a totally different animal than most of MLS, and I think that is being shown in how they're playing and how well they're playing in CCL.
Yeah. I was trying to pull up the Open Cup. There was one Texas team that played. It was the North Texas. How do you pronounce their name? Rayados?
Rayados.
Yeah, there you go.
Rayados.
Yeah, that word. They were playing a team out of New Orleans.
Nolans.
Yep. It's take forever to load, guys. I'm sorry. There we go.
Hashtag 5 minutes of screen loading.
Let's see. That was October, and it didn't even add it in here. That's nice of you guys.
By the way, you guys that have stuck around this whole time, as long as this has gone on,
Y'all
you
are
guys are
champs.
champions.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
need to be aware
Thank
that you're
you.
champions.
We appreciate you guys following.
They
the
may
field.
not say it, but I'll say it, okay? I love you.
Cartwheels.
Do some cartwheels, Josh. We're the people.
There you go. Well, the score's not coming up. U.S. Soccer does not update their U.S. Open Cup stuff.
No, they don't care.
Nearly
They don't
enough.
care.
It's the Open Cup.
Yeah.
I personally, because of being from the Northeast and knowing the history of Bethlehem Steel, I pay attention to it. I enjoy it. I wish the rest of the MLS clubs really cared about it. There's a few out there. David, he's our pessimist. He's our
Or just
Anywho, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us.
Yeah, guys. Sorry it was a little sloppy today. We had every intention on making this our best show.
Yeah.
Mike's didn't want to work. Mike's echoed. Table flipped on us. Beer spilled everywhere. But maybe
will-
next time.
This is the most real show you will ever see.
Yes, yes. We definitely want to take.
This is awesome.
Yeah,
it was still fun. Thank you so much for coming on
Yeah,
the show
we
and
definitely-
staying with
thanks for
us.
having us.
Yeah, thank you for
having
staying
me,
with
of
us, man.
Of course.
Next time we have you guys out. You,
Guys,
I'm gonna
Derek.
bring some chairs.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
have
that
chairs,
would be awesome.
an
Yeah,
actual
chairs would be.
table.
Yeah, I think
So-
chairs. Chairs next time. We can hold our mics kind of like this, and talk back and forth. And,
Men in
we
Blazers
could go,
talk.
like actual analysis here, MLS analysis.
Broadcasting minds.
Anywho,
Yeah.
guys, thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Facebook, or like our page on Facebook, The Peel 2005. Follow us on Twitter at The Peel 05. Listen to us on SoundCloud, The Peel 2005.
Yes, this video will also be loaded on YouTube. We'll throw in some bloopers at the end if it ended up recording it.
It didn't record it.
No,
You'll
it
see the
didn't.
You'll see the beginning of this table flipping on us. It's kind of funny.
It blacks out.
Yeah, you
Uh,
don't see much of anything.
No.
unfortunately.
But again, thank you guys for lending us your ear this year. It was fun. We are definitely going to be back next year.
We'll
we're
be
gonna
doing some off-season work as
Yeah,
well.
we are gonna do some
keep checking
off-season
back
stuff.
with us. We're gonna take a week break at least.
Yeah, we're
and
going to
figure
take about
something
a week,
out.
2 week break.
Off season is when the work begins.
It is.
Well, when there
Hashtag
are-
all the cliches.
yeah.
So I mean, I know I'm a full-time student, full-time employee. I need a small vacation.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, but it's fun. Hopefully next year this team turns things around and we get more viewership and actually get fans to get in on this.
I'm gonna throw it out there though. You say that, but if you think about like in general, fans talk and converse and engage more when the team sucks.
This is true.
So actually,
I
it's kind
should
of a
realize
good
that,
thing.
yeah.
It's kind of a good thing for you guys that the team sucks long term because it
We'll
helps your
talk about
viewership.
why.
Being from Philly, I should have realized that. The only city that I know that sells out every stadium when their team is trash. That's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks for riding this one out. This was fun.
I'm Josh. This is Sean.
And I'm Justin. We're from the Peel. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna send the drunk guy after you.
Whoa! Shit. You all right?
All right.
Good.
What happened? I think we lost.